Okay, Sandesh, can you share my screen as well? Yes, please share it. Thank you so much. Okay, then good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Naveen, Asmin, Naresh, Ravindra, Coderado, Revanya, Rahul, and all the guys who were in the chat from the start. I saw everyone. First of all, I'm really very sorry for the delay, guys. There was some issue with the YouTube live option. So sorry for that. And don't worry about any time that we wasted, anything that is around 10 minutes. We will definitely cover up like at the end. So don't worry about that. Okay. So good evening, all of you, and I welcome you all to this day 4 of JavaScript Essential. So yesterday was a very important day. We learned some really cool things. We learned about arrays. We learned about objects. We have seen now how to work with arrays and objects together. We have seen how to create array of objects, and we also looped them and we understood how to use them properly, right? And I also introduced functions yesterday. Okay, so basically yesterday was a pretty important day and we have covered everything, and I hope you guys have understood everything. So yesterday assignment reverse array is confused, please explain. Oh, creative, don't worry, I'll do it. It's very easy. It's just you, there was no, there was nothing to do with the array. You just have to apply a loop in reverse, that's it. So normally we print like this, right? Array of 0, array of 1, array of 2, array of 3. You just have to start from the backside. Array of 4, array of 3, array of 2, array of 1, array of 0. So that was it. That was very basic normal example. So don't worry, I'll do it in the end. Don't worry about that. So that's it, guys. That's it. Let's start with the today's session. And today we have again a lot of new things coming up because we are almost done with the basic principles of JavaScript, basic programming principles like variables, loops, right? Conditions, arrays, objects. And today we are actually going to start with something called as this, the document object model. And I think you guys remember that in the start only I explained you what exactly was DOM, right? It is nothing but the tree structure of your HTML document. So whatever code you write in HTML, that is converted to a tree, and then browser reads that tree to create your output. So that was what you call as DOM. And I also made you understand on the first day of the session, if you remember, that JavaScript is a language that was built for this, to manipulate the DOM. It has all the programming principles that what we have learned in the last 3 days. Now today we'll see why JavaScript was actually made in the start. Now JavaScript does a lot of things. I've told you in 2009 Node.js was introduced. After that JavaScript basically can do anything, literally almost anything now. But yes, today we'll start with something called as DOM. And yes, I remember that. Don't worry. I remember hoisting, so I'll explain you what hoisting is. So let me remove all this quickly, all the things that we have done till now. Okay, and let's go. Let's run this page. First of all, I'll explain hoisting. And see, guys, first thing, normally hoisting as a concept, if you don't learn it, it's fine. It's just you should know it. It's a quite overlooked concept. People, a lot of people that are experienced in JavaScript, they also don't know what hoisting is. So it's kind of, if you're programming correctly, you will never face any issue with it. So you never have to know what is hoisting, because it will never like give any problem to you if you're programming correctly. Only if you're playing with your declarations and assignment, then only hoisting can cause some problems. So let's try to understand what exactly hoisting is. Just understand it. It's not a big deal. Just basically understand it and it will definitely work for you always. Okay. So now let me do that for you. So let's run this file quickly, and let me also close my WhatsApp. I was opening the link from here. Okay, that's it. Copy the path, go in your browser. Let me just get a browser window from here and then paste it. Cool. Now see, guys, in all the other languages, there is a rule. Okay, in all the other languages, there is a rule that you have to always declare or initialize your variable first, then only you can use it. Otherwise, they don't allow it. For example, first, in all the other languages like C, C++, you have to create your variable in the scope first. That means you have to create a variable like, let's say, num equals 2. And then only you can use it like this, right? like this. Then only you can do it. Either declare it just like this and then assign some value afterwards, or get user value or whatever it is, doesn't matter. That's what normally all the other languages tell you to do, and it works fine. But what happens with JavaScript is, in JavaScript, you can actually see, guys, please focus. You can actually use the variable first and then declare it afterwards. You can use your variable first and then declare it afterwards, and it allows it. Let's see if it is working. Let's go on the browser, refresh, and you can see the output is still 23. That basically means it is working. Sir, why old HTML file is running instead of new file in Atom? Why old HTML file? Then I have to see what's going on, since I cannot tell it by like this. I have to see what exactly is the problem. Why old HTML file is running instead of new file in Atom? I have to see. Okay, so don't worry, guys. So see, now in this case, you can see our variable is getting created afterwards, but we are actually using it before the creation. How is this possible? And this is only possible in JavaScript. This is not possible in C or C++ because they don't allow you to do this. If you want to use a variable, first declare it. But in here, you can use the variable first and declare it afterwards. So how is this possible? So let me tell you how is this actually possible. So now see, guys, to understand this, let's go a little deeper in JavaScript execution. Like, how does JavaScript actually execute the program? Okay, so let me tell you about that. So let me open a Jamboard for that, right? So that I can explain you properly. Guys, please focus. It's not that tricky. Just understand it once. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Yes, don't worry. Now you'll understand how it happens. So JavaScript basically performs execution in two parts. One is known as the compilation, and one is known as the actual execution. Okay, so one is known as the compilation and one is known as the execution. Okay, so that's basically two things. So JavaScript executes everything in these two parts. First it compiles everything, then it executes everything. That's what happens. Now then, let's say you have a lot of lines of program. Focus, guys. Let's say you have a lot of lines of program. So at the compilation time, JavaScript finds out where are all the declarations. So whatever declaration it finds in the program, internally it moves all of them at the top. Not physically, you cannot see it happening, but yes, internally this thing is actually moved at the top at the compilation time. So at the compilation time, all the declarations, no matter where they are done in the scope, it will move at the top of the scope. And hence you can actually use it afterwards. That's what happens. Not, don't, guys, in the code it will not happen. Okay, it was just an example that it moves internally at the compilation time. And then while execution, it's fine. It finds out, okay, fine, variable is on the top, and then you are using it. That's it. This process of moving all the declaration to the top is what you call as hoisting. That's it. Is it cleared, everyone? That's all. That's what you call as hoisting. And remember, guys, only declarations move at the top. Only declarations are hoisted. Assignments are never hoisted. So if I do this, see, in this case, if I do this, like, let's say I initialize it here like this. In this case, you will see we get undefined. Even though it is var num equals 23, we get undefined because this thing is not getting hoisted. But if I do this, see, in the in normal case, if I do this, you will see that you get proper value. Why? Because this gets hoisted, but assignments don't get hoisted. This will not move at top. This will be at the bottom only. Is that clear? Only declarations are hoisted. So it can be a variable declaration. It can also be a function declaration. That's it. For example, see, in the function case also, if I create a function like function do something, okay, and I perform a simple console dot log hello. See that, guys. Now, see, function is created afterwards, but I am calling it before creating the function. What will happen? Let's see if it is getting called. It is getting called. I'm getting hello because again the same thing. This is a function declaration. So when the compilation happens, this moves at the top and then calling happens at the execution. So that's why. But again, if this was an assignment, let's say instead of declaring a function, I store it in a variable like var fun, something like that, right? Let's say I store this function. Let me just call it do something. And now let me try to execute this. Let's see if this is happening. We'll see. First of all, it's not even a function. So maybe I have to do some extra stuff in here. I might be making a mistake somewhere. Yep. See that? So it doesn't come because it's not moving up. So it's not a function and you cannot call it. So no matter you create an arrow function or you create a normal function, it doesn't matter. Because once you do assignment, it will never be hoisted. Only declarations are hoisted. Remember that. That's it. Cleared, guys? Now in interviews, actually, there is a very famous question that they ask. I'll tell you what they ask. I'm just telling you this because if they ask you, you should have an answer. And it's a very complicated question, but it's actually very easy to understand. I'll show you. See, they do this where a equals 10, okay, and then create a function. Let's call it do something only, or maybe display, okay. And then they say if a, that means if a is available, fine, console.log a, and then in here they do this where a equals 5. It's a very pretty famous example. I have also seen it. Now they call this function display. Now see, if I run it, it basically gives nothing. See, and even if I remove this, it will give me undefined. Now there might be a problem. You might think, no, but here assignment is at top. Why is this happening then? It's That's what makes it complicated. Here we think, fine, in hoisting declarations move at top. Okay, assignments don't move at top. But here my assignment is at top. Then why is this happening? But again, guys, understand that you're performing assignment here as well as here. So this assignment is overriding this assignment, and since this is assignment, it will not be hoisted, and that's why in here you get undefined. So this is the problem. Okay, so can I say arrow function needs to be assigned so it can be hoisted in other hand? See, first of all, no, don't get confused between arrow function and normal function. If they both only have name, they can be hoisted if they both are only declared. But if you store them somewhere, if you assign them somewhere, they cannot be hoisted. That's it. Okay, is that clear, everyone, guys? And we have not learned arrow functions yet, so don't get that deep into that. Okay, so everyone cleared with hoisting? Utpal, is your doubt cleared, buddy? Because you were the one who was asking this, so I hope it's cleared now. So only declarations are hoisted, assignments never get hoisted. That's it. Okay, so now then, let's move ahead. And remember, guys, you don't have to worry about it. Just follow normal approach. See, I'm writing JavaScript from last 6 years, and I never create my variables after I use them. I never do it. I never do it. I know this concept, but I never do it. I know JavaScript allows it, but still I never do it. I always create my variables first, and then I use it. Okay, that is basically an approach that I always follow, and I'd never make a mistake in that case. Sir, repeat again hoisting with if I keep repeating hoisting, the problem will be that we won't be able to complete dome. So hoisting was just a doubt. Don't worry, in some other session I'll take a complete lecture on hoisting, but today's plan is dome. If we don't perform dome operations today, then we won't be able to create project tomorrow. Okay, so guys, don't let's go on to dome. Let's complete the project tomorrow, and after that, if I get time, I'll again explain hoisting to you guys. Don't worry. Okay, just for if you guys want me to repeat it, just I'll give you again a simple hint that remember, in JavaScript it is allowed to use your variables first, like you can perform printing, you can perform assigning before even declaring it. So basically you can declare variables afterwards, and you can use it before the declaration. You can see you're doing the creation here, but you're using it here. How is this possible? Because of hoisting. Internally, when the code compiles, JavaScript moves this to the top. And this process of moving the declarations to the top is called as hoisting. If it is an assignment or initialization like this, now this will not move to the top because it's a initialization or a assignment. This will not move to the top. So in this case, you'll definitely get undefined and you cannot use A. Only if it is a declaration, it will move this at the top. All cool, guys? Basic concept, basic understanding of what exactly is hosting. Now, at least you can go ahead and learn more about it afterwards. Okay, cool. So everyone, are we ready? Can we move ahead to Dome? Understood the basic concept of hosting? And Utpal, perfect. Let's go, guys. Let's go ahead now and let's start with something called as Dome. Okay, now you remember, right? What exactly is Dome? It's document object model, right? And JavaScript was initially made for this. Okay, so again, just giving you a normal recap. If you remember, this is your HTML code with all the HTML head, title, body, and all that stuff, right? And you know that when you execute your HTML code, your browser converts your HTML code into a tree like structure where HTML is your main parent. Inside that, you have head, inside that, you have title, right? Then you have body. Inside that body, you might have h1, you might have a div, you might have an image. So it creates a proper tree structure, and browser reads that tree to generate the output for you. Now, JavaScript has the ability to dynamically access that tree and manipulate that tree. When I say manipulate that tree, means from that tree, JavaScript can remove elements, add element, manipulate element, update element, change the CSS of the element, change the content of the element dynamically. JavaScript can do all that dynamically. Okay. This is what JavaScript was made for initially. So that's what we're going to learn today. Okay. Now then, let's move ahead. Now, if you remember, guys, when I explained you that stuff, right? When I explained you the tree, I told you that in JavaScript, let me just do it again so that it becomes a little easier. So your tree goes like this, right? HTML, and inside HTML you have head. Inside head, then it's you also have body. And inside head, you have title. Inside body, you might have h1. You might have a div, and inside the div you might have a p, right? The structure can go like this and it can go so on and so on, right? And this is what you call as your DOM, the document object model. Now remember, guys, this whole document is actually stored inside one object that is available in JavaScript. Just like console is object available in JavaScript that helps you to work with the console area, this whole document object model is actually stored in one more very famous object called as document. This object, one of the most important and one of the most used object in JavaScript. It's an inbuilt object, you don't have to create it. And inside this object only, all of your tree is stored. All of the tree is stored in the document object. That means if you want to work with any of the element, you have to go through the document object. And today we're going to be learning this only. It seems like HTML course. Okay, but we have not done any HTML till now. But yeah, surely. Today we're going to do a lot of HTML and we're going to manipulate it using JavaScript. Okay, guys. So let's go. Let's start working with it. Okay. So first of all, to show you this, let me just create few elements here, like an h1, and then let's say I also create a p in here, and just write this is a paragraph. Let me also simply create a normal div in here, give it an ID of, let's say, ELE or maybe one, something like that. And also give it a class so that I can apply CSS on it. So class of, let's say, box. Let's also apply some CSS, guys. So style dot box, height 200 pixel, width 200 pixel, and background color red. Are document and window same? Nope, Utpal. No. Document and window are not same. Window is like the high level object in JavaScript. It is the parent of everything. So document is a child of window object. Just like console is also child of window object. So window is the highest level object. Document is a child of your window object. What's the purpose of converting HTML code to tree? Like that's how browser works, Ankita. That's how browser works. So browser actually converts that HTML code into tree-like structure so that it can easily access it. It can easily understand all the elements. That's how browser understands the HTML. Okay. So fine, guys. Let's go ahead. Okay. And let's see. So here we go. You can see we have a normal H1. We have a simple paragraph. And we also have a simple div in here. That's it. And let's also write some content in this. So just something like, let's say Thor. Right. Here we go. So targeting a tag using ID in CSS is a bad practice. Uh, it's not like it's bad, but it's also not good. It's also not usable. So you can target one element via ID, but you know that in HTML, you cannot give the same ID to any other element. So if you want to reuse that CSS, you cannot do it. So it's not bad, but it's limited. If you give an ID to an element and if you apply CSS via ID, you cannot apply the same CSS to someone else with that ID because you cannot give the same ID to anyone else. So there is no reusability. That's why we avoid IDs while applying CSS. Okay, is like Java's cosmic super. Exactly, Kalpesh. Just like you have object in Java, you have window in JavaScript. Exactly. That's a good, what do you say? Yes, yes, that's a really good understanding. Yes. So, guys, let's go. So, first of all, let me show you this. Let me just console.log the document object. And let's see what is that object giving us. Let's see what is actually stored inside that object. If you go ahead, you see the document object. When I hover on it, see, it selects everything. It literally selects everything. And if you go inside it, see, it's holding that whole tree that you have. See that, guys? So our definition stays, right? Document is the object which holds the whole tree. And you can see it here live. Here's your object and it's holding the whole tree with everything in it, head, body, all the stuff, right? And by using this document object, I can access any element at any level and start working on it. And now then, let's go. Explain parent and child. Okay, that's quite easy. So see, guys, first of all, I'm assuming that you guys know a little bit of HTML and CSS while learning JavaScript. But again, if you don't know, don't worry. I'll do it now. So whatever tag holds the content is the parent. So in this case, if I create a div and inside that, if I create a P, this div is parent and this P is child. That's like actually live. You can see it. And okay, but yep, here we go. This div is a parent because div is containing P. Anything that is inside the opening and closing of any element, right, that is the child of that element, and the element enclosing it, it's what you call as the parent, Avinash. So this div is the parent and this P is the child. If you also go inside P and create a I tag, now this I is a child of P and it's also a grandchild of div and it's also a great grandchild of body. So basically that is what you can assume. Okay, I presume with earlier question on window, can we do window? Yes, exactly, Naveen. Completely fine. Yes, you can do that. Yes. But normally we don't do that because window is like the main object, right? So even if you write it or don't write it, does not matter. JavaScript understands that. Is body a parent of div and P is a subchild? Yes. Yes. Not subchild, grandchild. Yes. What is subchild? Actually, grandchild is a term, right? Subchild. Okay. Okay, guys, then let's go. Now then, let's see how to use the document object to access any element. And now see, guys, by using the document object, you can access or select any element that you want to work with by using its class name or by using its tag name or by using its ID. Okay, you can select any element. So I'll show you two ways. I'll show you one way of by using tag name. I'll show you one way by using ID. But there are many ways, but you should understand that we cannot cover all that stuff in just 2 days. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. So let's say I want to select this H1. Now see guys, whenever you want to manipulate any element, the first thing, you should always divide your task in 3 steps. Okay, I want to manipulate an element. No matter what I want to do, I want to manipulate its CSS, I want to manipulate its HTML, I want to manipulate its content. I don't care. The first thing that I should know is how can I target that element? How can I target that element? So now to target element or to select the element that you want to work with is done by this document, because everything is inside that dot. You have a function called as query selector, and inside that you can simply pass the element that you want to select. In this case, H1. That's it. That's all, guys. Now let's see what is this giving us. What is this? Is it giving me this H1? Let's see that. And here we go. See that? It gives you that H1. You have selected that. It is returning that element. And once you have got the element, you're done with the first step. Once you have got the element, you have done with the first step. No matter how you get it by class name, you get it by ID, you get it by tag name. No matter how you get it, you got the element. And now you can do anything that you want. You can manipulate CSS, you can change content, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so let's see, let's do something. Now you can see initially inside my H1, the content is hello everyone. Can I change it using JavaScript? Let's see. So first stuff is I got the element. This line is selecting that element, targeting that element. Now I want to change the content, the textual content present inside it. So for that, there is a property called as inner text. Now let me first show you before changing it. What if I don't do anything? What if I just write like get me the inner text? Let's see. So now see guys, this line is targeting the H1. And if you just write dot inner text, it will go and check what is the textual content present inside that, and it will give it to you. Let me show you that. Here we go. See, it gives you the hello everyone. So when you select any element and type dot inner text, it basically checks what is the textual content inside it and it gets it for you. And you've got it now. Understood? But what if I want to change it? Why did I remove console? Because I don't want it to print it. I never wanted to print anything here. That's why I removed the console.log. But now, what if I don't want to get this content? I want to change this content. I want to manipulate this content. Again, very easy. If you want to manipulate it, again, the same thing. See, guys, if you only write this much, it is used for getting the inner text, getting the inner textual content. And if you want to change it, just write this line and equal to whatever new content you want. For example, I am new content. That's it. Save it and see, I'm a new content. You can see that in HTML, it is still hello everyone. But as the page loads, JavaScript is changing that hello everyone to I am a new content. And that's why you can see this. Is it cleared, guys? Everyone? Simple. So that's how you work with it. That's how you target an element. And now there are various ways of targeting an element. Let me show you one more thing. I can also target this element using its ID. For example, let's give it an ID. Let's give it ID of HD. That's it, like header or heading. Okay. So how to select the element via its ID? Let's do that. Do we need to remember all query selector parameters, or can we access the list of these parameters? You can access the list as well. I'll show you how to access the list. Don't worry. I'll show you. So now guys, let's see how to access an element via its ID. Again, guys, remember, whenever you want to perform manipulation, first step is to what? Let me just mention it. First mantra is select the element. No matter whatever you want to do, first thing is select the element by its ID or tag name or class name or any method. It does not matter at all. It does not matter how you fetch that element. That does not matter. Once you have got the element, you can do the exact same thing everywhere. So let me show you. So this was selecting the element via query selector and then changing its inner text. Can I also select element using its ID? Yes. Two ways now. There are two ways of doing it. See, document dot get, sorry, first of all, again, let me use query selector only. You can also use query selector to get element by the tag name, sorry, by ID. For that, just go in here, and now what is the ID? It's HD. So write HD. But query selector will not understand that what is this? Is it tag name or class name or ID? It will not understand. So by default, it thinks that it's a tag name. So to make sure that query selector understands that it's ID, just like in CSS, you have to put a hash here. That's it. Now query selector understands I have to find out an element with the ID of HD. And let me show you what it's giving us. Is it giving the same H1 back? Let's see that. Now you guys understand why I'm doing console.log, so that I can show you what is that thing giving us. See, it again gives you the same H1. Same. And once you have got the element, first mantra is proved, guys. Once you have got the element, same thing again. I can just do inner text. I can first of all get it. So let me just do this. I can see what's there in the H1 like this. And I can also change it just by equal to something new. See that? Something new. So you can use query selector to get an element by class name or by ID or by tag name. But to get an element by ID, there is one more way. Let me show you that as well. Same thing. Again, you can do document dot get element by ID. Now here you're mentioning that I'm getting an element by ID. So you don't have to worry now. Just mention the ID, HD. No need to mention hash, because this function knows that whatever you're writing is going to be an ID only. You cannot pass a tag name or class name here. You only have to pass ID because it's mentioned. It's get element by ID. So you're not going to pass anything like class name or tag name here. Okay. And once you have got it, again, the same thing. Inner text equals changed via ID. So see, guys, I'm not completing the whole DOM here. I'm not completing the whole DOM. I'm just trying to make you understand what is the first rule of DOM manipulation. You should know how to target the element that you want to work with. And there are many ways, but we cannot complete all the ways because we don't have that much time. It's otherwise itself a single lecture, selecting elements via different ways. There are a lot of ways, by class name, by tag name, by name. Then some of them give elements, some of them give arrays. So there are a lot of ways. Okay, a lot of ways. Okay, so in this tutorial, in this particular course, I gave you a hint, but in this particular course, we are going to be focusing mostly on query selector. We're going to be focusing. Yes, don't worry, Mohit. I'll tell you what is the difference between inner text and inner HTML. Don't worry. Well, in Atom, inner text is not working. How is that possible? Because it's not Atom's dependency. It is JavaScript. It works in browser. Check if you have wrote it correctly. Inner text, T is capital. Shins, please check it, buddy. Because inner text does not depend on an editor. It's a browser's property, right? So guys, let's go. And let me also show you one more thing. But before we move ahead, I want to ask something. Do you guys remember array? Come on, quickly answer me. Do you guys remember array? Everyone? Collection of elements of same type, and you access elements via index. Remember that or not, guys? Please tell me. I hope you guys remember, right? Fine. Because I want to do something here. I want to do something cool here. Okay? Let me do it. Okay? Now I'm having multiple H1s. So let me just write hello everyone one, or just let me write just write heading one so that it's more understandable. So heading one, heading two, heading three. How works for each? It works on array, the looping method, heading four. And let me remove all these IDs because now it is a in proper code. You cannot give same IDs to multiple elements. I'm removing all of that. Okay, because query selector is enough. For basics, guys, query selector is completely enough. You don't have to go for get element by ID, get element by class name. And, and I'm not doing it because we don't have that much time. But I showed you that there are some methods other than that. You can go ahead and research it. Take this as a Kickstarter and go ahead and research more about it. I would love if you guys do that. Okay, now then, let's go. So now, if you see here, I have 4H1s, correct? And here I've written document.querySelector H1. So what I want to see is, let's remove all this stuff. I don't care about that right now. What this query selector is going to do now, because I have 4H1s. So is it going to give me 4H1s or what's going to do? Because now I have 4H1s and I've written document.querySelector H1. So what's going to happen? Let's see. You can see that even if you have 4H1s, it only gives you how many? The first one. Query selector will always give you the first one. Query selector will always give you the first one, always. So what if I want to fetch all of them? Because query selector will never give you the second one. So what if I want to fetch all of them? For that, you have one more function called as query selector all. And now let's see what it's giving. Because there are multiple elements, it's going to give us a node list, which is for now understand it like an array. And you can see first H1 is on 0th index, second H1 is on first index, third H1 is on second index, and fourth H1 is on third index. Simply. That's how it works. Perfect, right? That means now this thing is giving an array. That means this thing is returning an array. It's an array. So guys, do we know how to access any element from an array? I hope we know, right? We can do indexing of 0. So now the first one of 1. Second one, see, adding 2 of 2 of 3 and of 4 and defined simply because there is nothing like that. Correct? Yes, you can use ID or class or in same. Exactly. So guys, are we cleared what we can do? That's how you can fetch multiple elements. And for basic stuff, guys, query selector is enough. It's enough actually. Because also when I started my JavaScript, I used to use only class name and ID. Get element by class name, get element by ID. After that, I found it query selector and it helped me a lot because it's like kind of a very simple stuff. If I want to work on one element, I can just do query selector. If I want to work on multiple elements, I can simply go with query selector all. I don't have to remember multiple stuff. If we change the content using DOM and it did not change in HTML, then the HTML is going to messed up. Okay, Surja Kanta, first of all, JavaScript manipulates the tree. It doesn't manipulate your HTML code. That's why when you refresh the page, it again comes back to normal. So whatever JavaScript has done, if you refresh your page, it will come back to normal. And that's how it works. It's never going to manipulate your HTML code. So nothing will mess up. Don't worry. Okay? It will never mess up. Never. Can we use div.h1? Yes, completely fine. Yes, I cannot read your name, buddy. I'm so sorry. But yes, that's completely fine. So guys, are we cleared? So targeting elements done, right? I can, if I want to select the first element, I can just do query selector. And if I want to select multiple elements, I can do query selector all, and I'll get an array. And then via the indexes, I can target any element. So targeting element is a must. That's why you should know. First mantra, select the element. By any way, just get the element. Get the element that you want to work with. Let's say I want to work with this element, heading 3. I got it. I got it. And once I've got it, I can do whatever I want. Once I got the element, I can just do dot again. Give me the inner text. There we go. Change the inner text. Here we go. Cleared everyone? First step cleared. So for this course, we're only going to use query selector, but in future, maybe when we go to advanced JS, I'll definitely teach you a few more stuff, like a lot of more stuff, not only a few more stuff. Guys, confirm me. Can we move ahead now? Because now I want to show you how to manipulate content, how to manipulate CSS, and how to manipulate attribute, because those are very, very important stuffs. All of the three. How to manipulate literally everything. Let's see that. Guys, confirm me once. All set, all cleared. Can we move ahead? I'll just keep that there so that it's always there and you can understand it. Everyone, come on, quickly give me answers. Come on. Is inner text and inner HTML same? No. Nope, Talha. I'm going to explain that now. Right now, it was only to focus on the selection. Okay, let's move. Let's move ahead now and let's see. Let me tell you the difference between inner text and inner HTML now. So for now, let's go ahead and remove the content of my div. Remove the content of the div. Doesn't matter. Remove it. Now you can see I have only one div. Okay, I have only one div, so I can just use normal query selector, or I can also use its id, or I can also use its class. It doesn't matter. Whatever I want to use, I can use. I can select it via div, I can select it via id, I can select it via class. So let me select it via id. So let's select this div. So document dot query selector, and the id is what, guys? Hash 1. So take h1 of 8. It will be undefined, buddy. H1 of 8, because there is no array, right? So guys, you can see that I have a div and id is 1, and based on id I'm fetching it. Just to confirm that it's actually giving you the div, it's actually selecting the div. Let me do it. Let me do it. It's actually giving you the div. See that? It gives you the div. If I hover, you can see it's selected. Amazing. Now then, let's perform some manipulation. Now you can see there is no content inside it, and I want to put some textual content. What can I do, guys? Very simple stuff. Dot inner text. Let me just put some content like that. Let's see if it is working. Amazing, it's working. I can see some content. But what if I also want to put a h2 with it? I want to put it like this, h2, like this, slash h2. Is it going to work? Let's see. No, it doesn't. It prints the h2. You can see that. And this is what inner text is. Inner text treats everything like a text. Tags are also text for it, because this is a string. So inner text doesn't understand that h2 is a tag. It treats it like a text, and that's where inner HTML comes into play. It understands the difference between text and tags, and it treats tags like tags and text like text. And in this case, you will see h2 because it's bold. Is it cleared? Sir, create a HTML elements using, yes, I'm going to do it. This is what we did. Actually, this is the first time we did. Guys, we actually created a HTML content using JavaScript. See, if I right click on it, inspect, see it's a h2, which I didn't write here. There is nothing in this div. I generated a h2 and I put it inside this div. So actually we did it. But this is not the best way. This is not the best way of generating element, but this is one of the good ways. So don't worry. I'll also show you the best way. Don't worry. Okay, so that's the difference between inner text and inner HTML. You can use them to either read the content or to change the content. To read the content, you just have to do this much. So whatever is inside that div, it will get it for you. And if you want to change it, equal to something. That's what we did with inner text as well, right? If I wanted to see what is the textual content inside the element, just get the element and dot inner text. It will give you the content. And if you want to change it, equal to the new content, and that's it. Sir, it's a request. If possible, include async await in today's session. If not possible, explain in 5 minutes. It will be fine. Um, okay, fine. I'll try. Because see, it's a big concept. For that, first of all, we have to understand asynchronous JavaScript. So actually, we are planning for an advanced JS session in some days. So maybe there I'll be definitely explaining you promises, async and await. But don't worry, I'll explain you at least a little bit today. I'll try. I'll try to explain it a little bit today. Don't worry. I'll do it. So guys, let's go ahead and let's try to manipulate. Now content is done. We know inner text, we know inner HTML, so we know how to manipulate content. Now let's move a little bit more and let's try to change the CSS of the element. And let's see how to do that. Difference between inner text and HTML. Vinod, we just did it, buddy. So we saw. So if you have joined late, you can just go a little bit in the video, like a little bit back in the video, and you can see it. But again, just to get you to the point, Inner text treats everything like a text. So you can see H2 is also getting treated like a text. And inner HTML understands the difference. And if it is H2, it treats it like H2. That's the difference. Okay. एक्चुअली ऋषभ छोटा सा टॉपिक नहीं है प्रोमिसेस. एक्चुअली प्रोमिसेस समझने के लिए पहले हमें असिंक्रोनस जावास्क्रिप्ट समझ में आना चाहिए. So, जब असिंक्रोनस जावास्क्रिप्ट समझ में आएगा कि वो क्या होता है, कैसे काम करता है, उसके बाद ही हम फिर हमको कॉल बैक समझ में आने चाहिए. उसके बाद ही प्रोमिसेस एक्चुअली हमको समझ में आता है प्रॉपर्ली. क्योंकि जब तक हमको कॉल बैक नहीं समझेगा ना कि एग्जैक्टली क्या प्रॉब्लम देता है, वो कैसे यूज होता है, तब तक हम प्रोमिसेस नहीं समझ सकते इजीली. उसके लिए फिर वो थ्योरी रह जाएगा. प्रैक्टिकली प्रोमिसेस को अगर समझना है हमें, तो पहले हमें कॉल बैक समझने चाहिए, फिर उससे कॉल बैक्स के प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है वो समझना चाहिए, कॉल बैक्स हैंडल कैसे होते हैं. तो बहुत कुछ है उसके अंदर. So don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We are planning for advanced JS session, and there it will be this only: asynchronous JavaScript, promises, callbacks, everything. Okay. So, guys, let's move ahead to changing CSS of an element. So this is my element, right? This is the element. It's red in color. Let's change its color using JavaScript. Okay. So again, guys, first mantra: no matter what we want to do, I want to change color, I want to change content. No matter what I have to do, first select the element. Oh, zero to hero. Basically, he was asking to explain promises. I told him that promises is not a very easy or very small topic. Even if it is a small topic, first we have to understand asynchronous JavaScript and also callbacks to understand promises in a better way. So that's why. So basically, I told him that we will do it in some advanced JS sessions. Okay, let's go, guys. So first thing, select the element. So document dot query selector #1 again, because I'm working on the same div. And now I want to change its CSS. So if you want to change CSS of any element, you have to select the element and then dot style dot style and then dot any property of it, any property that you want to manipulate. So in this case, if you want to manipulate background color, just write that property just the way you write in CSS, background color. But now, guys, one really important thing to understand here, that hyphen is considered as minus in JavaScript. Hyphen is the operator, minus operator in JavaScript. So you cannot write the properties the way you write it in CSS. You're going to write the same properties, but you're not going to write it in the same way. So you have to write it in camel casing format. Start with lowercase, and every other word will start like this. So it's background color only, but remember, you cannot use hyphens. That's all. So background color red, or it's already red. Let's make it green. See, so in the code, I put it red, but using JS, I made it green. See that, guys? Why hash? Because one is the ID, right? I want to make sure that query selector understands that I'm fetching that element via its ID. I'm targeting that element via its ID. Is it clear, guys? So you have to write it in this fashion. That means if it is font size, you cannot write font hyphen size. You have to write font size. If it is, let's say, what do you say? Let's talk about three words. Let's say border top radius. If it is border top radius, you're not going to write border hyphen top hyphen radius. You'll write something like this: border top radius. So everything you have to do like this. Okay, all the properties like that. That's it, guys. That's how you manipulate CSS. And exactly now, any property is fine. Let me show you. You can manipulate anything, literally anything. So border radius equals 20 pixels. See that now? I am using JavaScript to manipulate CSS. Understand that? Whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you do in CSS, box, shadow, 0,0,0 or 20 pixel. I'm giving some dummy shadow, guys. Don't worry, just showing you. See, shadow is also here now. can see it. Let me make it black so that you can see it properly. What I'm trying to say is any property is fine. Exactly. Starting with lowercase and every other word which start with capital letter. This is what you call as camel casing. Is it clear, guys? So that's how you can manipulate CSS of any element using JavaScript. Now you understand how these things work, right? Let me show you. Let me go on Flipkart. You might have seen, right? Sometimes you click somewhere and the thing changes the shape. Sometimes you click somewhere, thing moves. That's how it works. See, if I click here, it's moving. This is also JavaScript. But now the problem is we don't know how to do this, how to do something based on a click. That's something we don't know. And that is the last topic for today. We're going to learn how to do this. So, guys, first of all, the next thing that we're going to learn is something called as event handling. The next thing that we're going to learn for today is something called as event handling. So, first of all, let's try to understand. Guys, see, just focus for the next 5 minutes. It's a very easy topic. Okay. If you have never understood it, don't worry. It's very easy. Let me talk to you through it. What exactly is event handling? Okay. First thing, whatever you perform on your web page, like click, double click, focus, anything, hover on any element, whatever you perform. सर मुझे अब लग रहा है CSS HTML फेक है, ये JS एक्चुअल में गजब है. HTML CSS सिर्फ आपको एक स्टैटिक साइट बना के देता है जो कुछ नहीं कर रहा होता. JS वो है जो एक्चुअल में इसको डायनेमिकनेस प्रोवाइड करता है और इसको बैकएंड से कनेक्ट करने में हेल्प करता है. तो वो सब कुछ JS करता है एक्चुअल में. Okay, so now guys, focus everyone. Whatever interactions like click, hover, double click, select, this thing also when you like just focus inside input field, this selection, every interaction that you perform on the web page is what you call as an event. First point, understood, guys? Any interaction that you perform on a web page or an app, that is what you call as event. See, if I go here, I'm also performing an event. All of this is the event. Clicking is an event. So any interaction that you perform is event. First thing. Second stuff, the elements on which you perform the event. For example, I click on this button, I hover on this toy in this image, I focus inside this input field, right? So the elements that you perform the events on are known as event handlers, because they are handling the event for you. Actually, they are not directly the event handlers, but for now, just understand that that is the event handler. There's a little more to it as well, but I'll explain you that in some time. So that's what event handler is. And so when I click, I'm performing the event. Where I'm clicking, that is the event handler. And whatever is happening, right? That means there will be some code, right? Some code written somewhere that is doing that stuff. So that code that is doing the stuff is what you call as the event listener. So you perform event on an event handler, and whatever happens, that is what you call as the event listening or event listener. That means somewhere there is some functionality written. There is some code of 5 to 10 lines written, right? Someone has wrote it. And when you click on this button, that 10 lines code function is called. So that function is the event listener. So you perform event, click event on this button. This button is your event handler. And when you click on this, when you perform the event, that function is called. So that function becomes event listener. Like for example, let me give you example again. See this beauty toys and more, that teddy bear, that is the image. That's my event handler. I perform my event now. See, and this box appears. Now this box, appearing of this box is via some code, right? There is no magic. Someone has written some code for it. So that code was executed as soon as I performed this event of hovering on the image. That means that code was listening. As soon as you perform event on that image, I'll be called. Is that cleared, everyone? So that's what event handling is. And Okay, wait. What was that? Sandesh, did you do something? You have to wait for some minutes, buddy. Wait for some minutes more. Okay. So guys, let's go. Let's learn how to do that. Everyone, let's see. Onload is for, it's again an event that is basically called when the page loads. As soon as the page loads, onload event is called. Okay. So it's okay, Sandesh. It's okay, buddy. No issues. Okay. So guys, should we see it, everyone? Should we learn it then? So let's do this. Now, first of all, guys, please focus. Do you remember function? Do you remember function? Function is nothing but a block of code. Function is nothing but a block of code having some name which doesn't execute by default. You have to call it. That means, see, right now, this code is just bluntly outside. That's why it's executing on the spot. You can see all of it is green and border radius and everything. But what if I put this code inside a function, like function change element, and I put this 3 lines of NASA code, hacking code, very big, very important stuff around the world inside the function, right? And now you'll see nothing is happening because now these 3 lines of code is inside the function. And until and unless this function is called, this code will not execute. I know that. So only if I call that function, you'll see that thing is happening, right? If I don't call it, it will not happen. Now the function is ready. Now I just have to make sure that, let's say I have a button somewhere. I want this button to become my event handler, this change element button. Okay, I think my image is here. You cannot see it properly. Um, Sandesh, can you move my image on the right side? Is that possible, Sandesh? Can you move my camera on the right side of the page? Can you please do that? Sandesh, is it possible, buddy? Okay, this is also fine. This is also fine. For some time, this is also fine. Okay. So now, guys, you can see the button, right? So when I want, okay, let me first of all correct the spelling mistake. Change. Okay, fine. Now, what I want is, as soon as I click on the button, I want to apply that CSS in here. So how can I do that? I already have the function. So now what I want to do is, when I click on this button, I want to call this function. That's what I want to do. So let's go. For that, there is an attribute in the button called as on click. And this is the actual event handler. This will handle the click event. So now when I'm saying that when someone clicks on the button, that means whenever on click happens, whenever that event is fired, please call, let me increase the font size. Okay, I hope it's fine now. So whenever someone, I'm writing on click, that means whenever someone performs a click on this button, please call this function. And that's it. That's it, guys. That's all. So button is your event handler. You are going to perform the click event as a user, that interaction. And as soon as you perform click event, button knows that when someone clicks on me, whenever on click is performed, I just have to call this change element function. And when the change element function is called, it will select the div element. It will change its background color to green, change its border radius to 20 pixel, and change its shadow to this. And let's see if it is happening. Let's go and ta-da, done. That is what is happening here. When I click, it moves. See that? When I hover, these things appear. All of that is this thing only. I can also move it. Let me show you. While doing this, let's also move this. Let's also move this. Margin left, 200 pixel. And to apply some animations, let me just give it a transition in CSS. Transition 2 seconds. That means whatever happens, make it happen in 2 seconds. Now see, just a demo, guys. Okay, wait. Wow, margin left. I wrote margin left. Sandesh, can you block that spammer, please? Now, guys, see everyone. Here we go. See that? Sometimes the image is auto moving or sliding. Yes, that auto moving is also done via JavaScript, Suraj. Yes, that's also JavaScript. This is just a very simple example. Now, for that thing, yes, that's also JS. Everything, this is whole thing is JavaScript. This thing, when you start writing and everything is appearing, that's also JavaScript, right? All of this. Okay. This also, this product slider, it's also JavaScript. So everywhere you see there is JavaScript, you cannot do anything about it. But yeah, that's what it is. So guys, are we cleared with event handling, everyone? Okay. Now, first thing is, let me tell you what is the project that we are making tomorrow. And guys, tomorrow we're going to take a bigger lecture, maybe of 1.5 hours. We do that every day, actually. Almost every day we take 1.5 hours only. But tomorrow is strictly 1.5 hours. So be prepared for that, because tomorrow, as based on the highest number of votes, we are making music player. Okay, and I'll try to make it, design it like Spotify. Okay, but designing will take a lot of time. So let's see, can we do query selector with CSS class name? Yes, Hitesh, there is nothing like CSS class name. Class name is of HTML only. Yes, so you can use the same class name for CSS, you can use the same class name for query selector as well. So tomorrow, guys, we are going to be making a music player. Is that clear, everyone? Flipkart homepage, Beastopy, either we can design or we can write JavaScript in just the 1.5 hour we've got. Because this design will also take around 1 or 1.5 hour. HTML and CSS design. So even if I make it 2 hours, we can make a good music player actually. If I make it 2 hours, we can also try to implement a search in there. We can try that, right? So guys, let me tell you what are the features that it will have. Let me just tell you that quickly first. Okay. So it will have a list of music. Okay. And we'll create a mobile view. I'm not going to create a web view. We will create a mobile view for that, like this, so that it looks like a mobile application. Okay. So we'll create a mobile view. Is that clear, everyone? We will create a mobile view for that. And guys, please don't worry about JavaScript, but please at least make sure that you're charged with your HTML and CSS skills tomorrow. Tomorrow, I do, like, you can ask any doubt, but I want as less doubts as possible for HTML and CSS and more doubts for JavaScript. So just charge your HTML and CSS skills for tomorrow, so that I don't have to explain you designing, so that I only have to explain you JavaScript, because we won't have that much time. Is that cleared, guys? So we'll make a mobile view. So we'll be having one list. Okay, we'll be having one list which will display all the music that we have. And when I click on a music, it will basically play it. We'll create our own. We'll try to create our own controls. And I'm not going to exactly create Spotify clone. Don't worry, because it's big. It cannot be done in 1 hour. If we have 3, 4, 5 hours, then definitely someday I can make a complete Spotify clone for you guys. Don't worry. And that can be a real mobile app, not a web app. Okay, but tomorrow, let's call it music player, but in a mobile view. It will look like a mobile app only. Yes, maybe we can use a little bit of media queries tomorrow, definitely. Okay, so guys, that's, yes, on YouTube only, Mr. Gyros, on YouTube only. Yes. So guys, this was one announcement. Second announcement is again the quiz winner from yesterday. And one more thing, I know that a lot of people play it multiple times, so I'm making a rule now. I'm making a rule. The rule is, you will only put your first name. Okay, and in your first name, your first letter or the alphabet should be capital. That is the only name we will consider. Okay, good rule, so that you don't play 3 4 times, right? That's a bad thing. Don't do that. Like, you can do it, but we will only consider the name with only the first name with first capital letter. That is what we will consider, so that we can avoid playing multiple times. You can play multiple times, but we'll not consider that. We'll only, so now I know. You can also try this, right? You will play first with some different names, and then you will finally, when you know the answers, you will put the first proper name. Fine, then try it. That's okay. I cannot do anything about it. That's cool. No issues. So basically, DOM is only to change HTML and CSS to JS. Yes. Rare for Apple. Yes. Include some individual. Yes, definitely, Utpal. So I'll try to come up with 3 to 4 interview questions as well tomorrow. related to dome. So whatever topic we are learning, I'll include 3 to 4 questions about it. Like today we discussed about hoisting, and I told you what interviewers ask basically in that case. Yesterday we talked about let and where. Tomorrow also I'll come with some dome questions as well, so don't worry. Okay. So, yep, guys, that's it. And yeah, let me announce the winner first. So, here we go. The winner of yesterday's quiz is Shivansh. So, congratulations, Shivansh, Veer, and Sagar for nahi, for coming on the podium to get 1, 2, 3, and only Shivansh for getting the 500 rupees Amazon coupon. I was about to say $500 Amazon coupon. It's not dollars, guys. It's 500 rupees Amazon coupon. Okay. So, yep, guys, that's it. And one more thing, guys, last announcement that, as you know, this is just an essential session. We are just conducting it for 5 days, but we have a lot more in our pocket that we want to give it to you. So for that, you can just go ahead on LetsUpgrade.in, check out our full stack PGP courses for web development and data science. And if you're interested, you can actually enroll for it, where me, myself, and a lot of other trainers will be there that will teach you full stack development that will start from HTML, CSS, JavaScript with Bootstrap and other CSS frameworks, plus React, Node, Angular, all the JS frameworks with backend and frontend, with 15 plus projects of designing and development. And some of the projects are like Instagram clone and Netflix clone. Okay, so if you're interested, you can go ahead to that. You can see the courses, check out the course, and if you're interested, you can join it. And for all the new people, please, please, please register for the course and mark your attendance, because if you don't have 3 days of attendance, you won't get the certificate. And you can also join the Telegram link that is there in the description of the video. Only if you join that, you can play the quiz. And also, you can ask our experts there. Prasad is always there. You can just ask any question to him related to the course, related to anything that you feel like. Okay. And yes, Kritik, don't worry, we'll do it tomorrow. That is the first thing we'll do tomorrow, because tomorrow we might have 1.5 hour session, so we will have enough time. But guys, please, please be prepared with HTML and CSS. Make sure that tomorrow you're not confused in HTML and CSS. Make sure that JavaScript is the only thing that we learn tomorrow. HTML, CSS is something that we should know tomorrow. So just please practice it. Okay. And guys, yes, we are very close to 121,700 subscribers. So if you are so kind, if you can, and if you like our content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can see we are 121,516 right now. Make it 700 if you can. Please share us with your friends and everyone, and keep enjoying. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see all of you tomorrow exactly at 6:30. I'm excited for the project. I hope you are also excited, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Please let me know in the chat, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Have a great night. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.